Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Natural Resource Preservation Advisory Board meeting on Wednesday, November 2nd at 12:30 p.m. Kindly silence your cell phones. Ms. Thompson, will you please call the roll?
Member Matthewman?
Here.
Member Davison?
Present.
Member Nessel? Member Chapelier? Member Eastwood Egan? Member Brenner? And Chairperson Stansfield.
Present.
Thank you.
Can we all rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to today's agenda? As you're flipping through, if I don't hear silence, I'll take that as a no. Is there a motion then to accept the agenda as presented?
I make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor say yes. Yes. Any opposed say no. Okay, public comment is now open. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Ms. Thompson, were there any pre-registered public comments?
There were no pre-registered public comments.
Okay, so we're moving along. We have no presentations for today on the agenda. Okay, approval of minutes from the October 6th, 2022 meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes of October 6th of 2022?
I don't see any.
Motion to approve minutes of October 6th.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor to approve minutes, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Okay. Ms. Allen, updates from Town Planner Allen, please.
Okay, good afternoon. For the record, Ingrid Allen, Town Planner. I just wanted to update for the record. I'll just give actually an overview of the email that I sent to the board on October 18th. Given a lot of things that I referenced in that email were discussed at your special meeting, we want to be sure that for the record, anyone who may have been watching that meeting now has an update, because I emailed you all prior to the food truck event because a lot of the issues that were brought up were relevant to the food truck event. So that's obviously took place before today. So just very quickly, I'll update provide the email for the record. I did indicate in the email that the board web address has been changed to www.highlandbeach.us/NRPAB. If you recall, the link was much longer. And I think for the food truck event, we wanted that QR code, just sort of an easier link. So that has been changed. The board webpage has been updated. I hope you all had the opportunity to look at it. There is now a separate section that's located under the heading of Dune Restoration and Preservation. And we went ahead and attached several of the links that you all discussed, some of those handouts that I provided back at your special meeting. All those links are now provided on the town, on your all's webpage. The last, again, there was some specific information about the food truck event, about the QR code. And lastly, in that email, there was a reference about the educational outreach letter. The letter has actually gone out. It went out last week. We did get correspondence from our mail courier. We outsource some of these larger mailings to, I guess I'll call it a courier. So I did receive an email from him that the letters went out last week. So people should hopefully be receiving them this week or next week. Mail seems to be a little bit longer now than usual. So that's pretty much it on the email. Let's see what else here.
Can I ask a
Yes.
question?
Yes.
When we sent out that letter, I forget, if somebody is interested,
Mhm.
who are they calling? Or what are they doing?
Well, actually, the QR code takes them to your webpage. So they can look at the information and,
The QR code is in the letter?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Did you see the
Okay.
final
Yeah.
version?
Okay.
It was very, very
Okay.
nicely done.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
So,
And again, the main idea of the letter was to direct them as an initial awareness campaign and where resources are located.
Okay.
And it was done very well with literature that we all put together when we worked on that special meeting, drafted it together, it was reviewed, and we didn't even ask for the QR code to be put on there. So whoever had that little piece on there was nicely done.
yes, Teresa Cuevas was kind enough to add that. And,
And
oh,
just to remind me again, so if there was a condominium, it was sent to every unit owner inside the condominium?
yes,
Okay.
all the residents, yeah. Let's see what else. Talked about that. Oh, back from your last regularly scheduled meeting, which was on August 10th. If you recall, there was a question made regarding the maintenance of dune erosion. If to maintain your dunes, if it's eroded. I had mentioned to the board that there's nothing in our town code as far as any requirements to maintain your dune if it is eroding. And I indicated that I would reach out to FDEP, and I did, and I had been waiting to get a response. So I did get a response from our contact over FDEP. He's actually the gentleman that gives out the field permits in this area. And he indicated to me, David Kickenbausch is his name, that there aren't any regulations at FDEP in terms of requiring someone to maintain their dunes if they are eroded. So I wanted to update the board on that as well. Another thing that will be coming, it's more of an update to the board, something upcoming will be coming to the board probably at your next regularly scheduled meeting, which would be February. On October 18th of 2022, the town commission considered an introduction of a sea turtle lighting ordinance. This ordinance is to protect sea turtles. So right now in our town code, we really don't have any regulations in terms of sea turtle protection in terms of lighting. We have a very broad regulation that basically says, you know, this is a sea turtle season, and in so many words, don't have your lights on. So we want to add a little bit more detail to that. The commission's direction at that meeting was to have the ordinance come to the board and for you all to review it. In addition to you all reviewing it, they wanted Gumbo Limbo to look at it and FWC, which is the Florida Fish and Wildlife. So I did receive comments from Gumbo Limbo and I'm reviewing them. I have not heard back from FWC. Now, what's interesting about FWC is when you go on their website, they actually have a link to the state ordinance. Now, the ordinance that the commission reviewed, again, it was just an introduction, was based on the state model. So anyways, I am waiting for FWC. I don't anticipate any comments given it's consistent with the state ordinance. We didn't have to really reinvent the wheel. The state provides this ordinance as an incentive for municipalities to adopt these regulations. So they kind of do all the legwork for you, right? And there may be some minor tweaking here and there. So again, I just wanted to give you all a heads up that this ordinance, proposed ordinance, will be coming before you in February. You will then provide a recommendation to the town commission, and then they'll consider the ordinance for adoption. I was just
I
going to
have a
say,
question.
go ahead.
If there's already a state ordinance, why do we need to do anything?
Well, it's not a state ordinance.
Oh,
There's regulations in the Florida statutes, and I think there's also the Florida Administrative Code that basically says that, guidelines will be made, like guidelines. It's not codified in the state statute.
Okay.
So the state, I think it's FDEP that coordinated, it's either FDEP or FWC, provided a model ordinance, but the model ordinance is not codified.
Okay.
Yeah, the Florida statute, I'm sorry, my laptop for some reason is not working, but the Florida statute says that in so many words, you should provide some guidance, and that guidance is in the form of a model element or a model ordinance, I should say. Yeah. I was going to say something else
And-
about.
One,
The ordinance.
Ms. Allen,
Yeah.
since it's going to be coming before us in February, is it possible for you, since you identified where it came from, that model, can you send us that link so that we're not Google searching for it everywhere so that we can review it and come prepared at the meeting instead
Well,
of like,
I will provide you the model ordinance. There's some things in there that we did not include because we're a small town and some things in that model ordinance did not apply. However.
understood, but if we can come cognizant and understanding the greater model so that when we're reviewing it, we're not just flipping through saying, do you think it looks good? And then we can, I think, again, intelligent individuals can say, well, we are the small town, but I would like to look at it before instead of sitting here with it on my lap at that time, trying to decide whether or not this does meet or fits within the model. Does that make any sense? It's just reviewing prior. for
So
my
you
own-
want a link to the state model ordinance? Okay.
Exactly, for my own personal education and review. Otherwise, how can I review and give feedback if I'm not cognizant of what's already out there? Thank you.
Okay, I can email.
I
the
second
board.
that. I'd like to see it in advance too.
Okay, I can email the board a link to the state model ordinance. And then prior to your meeting, as with every other agenda, we'll provide you the town's proposed ordinance, again, which mimics the state ordinance, is based on the state ordinance, I should say. And then we'll also provide you the comments that were provided by Gumbo Limbo and hopefully comments that we get from FWC. Yeah. I was just going to say about the ordinance, just to refresh your memories, under your board duties and responsibilities, there is a provision in there about you all reviewing ordinances that the commission sees fit. Right. So that's just a little history as to how it came to you. Again, you have that opportunity to do so if the commission desires, and obviously they desire for you to take a look at it. So that was just, again, a heads up as to what may be coming, what will be coming for you all at your next scheduled meeting. I also did want to mention that I was told that the town is a member of the Beach and Shores group. I think we included a link on the board's webpage for this group. Now, I did look at their webpage, and they really don't provide any guidelines like FDP does and FWC. A lot of those links that are now on your page do provide, a lot of details, like how to do things, how to plant a dune plant, that type of stuff. This particular group doesn't really provide guidelines per se, but what they do help with is funding for a variety of things that are relevant to beach and shores. As I said, the town is a member of the group. The only thing with funding is that you're competing with a lot of coastal communities in the state of Florida. So in case you go on the webpage, on your board page and you see it, I just wanted to give you a heads up, like if you're inquiring why this Beach and Shores group link is on there, that's why, because we're a member of it.
And funding in the form of grants?
Yeah.
Or RFPs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we would be eligible to spend, because I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in the past, maybe even Maggie brought forth some opportunities for grants, but these would be grants that we are actually as a town.
Yeah. And again, any grants that the
Available.
town decides to move forward with would obviously have to be approved by the town manager and the town commission. Yeah. And again, we have beaches that are private, so grants can be a little bit, I don't want to say difficult, but yeah, we don't have public beaches, so it's a little bit different situation than other municipalities. And I think that's pretty much it for my update. Yep, that's it.
Thank you, Tan Planner Allen. And that takes us to item 9, new business, approval of Natural Resources Preservation Advisory Board proposed 2023 calendar year meeting dates. And on page 11 of our agenda, it lists them out as February 1st of 2023, May 3rd of 2023 is the organizational meeting, August 2nd of 2023, and November 1st of 2023. And I'd also like to draw our attention to the fact that the proposed time is 9:30 a.m. for these future meetings. So can it be approval of dates and time?
Can I make a comment or question, please? The August one seems to be during school vacation, people not being in Florida. Would it be possible to move that one to September when people are back, at least this group? So that we can meet in person?
Well, but there's always the opportunity to meet via Zoom as well.
Right.
So. And again.
I would say leave the dates because we have to get a quorum anyway. So if some of us can't make it, we can schedule it for another time, but nobody can. I mean, I don't have my calendar set up for 2023 quite yet, but I would propose that we potentially move the meeting time to later in the day.
I agree with that.
Can we be provided with an explanation of why it was moved back, Ms. Thompson?
We were trying to have most of the meetings or all of our meetings scheduled to earlier in the day because staff availability. We used to have a later meeting date and it kind of collided with a lot of what we were trying to do as a town. But if you would like a later meeting date, later meeting time, what is the proposal for the time? Because we have to have a cutoff.
I mean, I would propose 10 a.m. works for me just based on my schedule, but
Could we go to 11, maybe? I don't care. I'll
I want to be respectful of individuals who have children. I know like that is not part of my world these days, but I understand and I'm respectful of individuals who have their mornings taken up with getting kids to school. I can be extremely flexible, but if there are specific needs that individual households have as it pertains to getting their family to where they need to be, is that the basis for moving it later in the day? I totally support that.
We don't meet often enough for it to be a problem. I can give up my morning. So I'm good with whatever, if 10 o'clock,
Yep,
whatever
for me,
time
anything
you
is
want.
fine.
If we could do 10,
Yep.
that's better than 9:30.
motion to change the meeting time to 10 a.m., keeping the dates set forth in the current agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I-
Say yes. Yeah, okay.
It was 10 a.m.
So dates is set on page 11 at 10 a.m. beginning February 1st of 2023. Calendars be marked. We are given notice. Okay. Okay, follow up on October 27th, 2022, Town of Highland Beach food truck event. Everybody was present except.
I was not.
Yep. So Barbara and I manned the table, whatever we wanted to call it, the booth, it's referred to as a booth, but we had our table up and we did have, we had a lot of traffic. It was a very well-attended event overall. We even walked through and we're kind of politicking through the crowds, handing out flyers. And we got positive feedback from the individuals we spoke to. And again, it was just an attempt to make an awareness of the work that we do and even that the board exists, which for me was even a big aha. Individuals are not aware that this board existed and they were happy to hear that something was in place that had that initiative in mind. Anybody else who was in attendance have feedback?
I was just gonna say, from myself and the rest of the board, like a big thank you to the two of you for manning the table. The table looked fantastic. It was one of the nicer tables that I've seen through many food trucks here. And yeah, I was canvassing some of the people that I was talking around. They all commented of how much they liked the table and learned about, some information that we had shared about the dunes and seaweed and turtles. And so thank you again for all your hard work.
And not everybody's present, but a lot of people went in or supported that work, even getting the website up and ready, the QR code ready. I want to make sure that we're acknowledging the town commission giving us the ability to have that table. So it was very well received. We just want it noted that we appreciate it as a board.
Do we have the ability to monitor website traffic? Maybe we asked this at a last meeting, but can't remember.
I can find out from Teresa, the manager's office. They're responsible for the webpage and the website. I don't know. I don't have an answer right now, but we can find out if that's something that we can do.
Okay, that would be nice to see, if our event has any impact or, are people going to the website as a direct relation to that date or, within a few days afterwards.
Good question. Good way to collect.
And
some
you know what, I just
information.
want to add that I'm really happy to hear that the event went well. I really am sorry that I had to miss it. But I think that whenever we have a food truck event, we should have a presence there. And because I think there are a lot of people that have no idea about us and our board and a lot of other things that are going on around the town. So I think if we can continue to do the food trucks, that would be a great way to inform people.
I think that's a great point. I just wanted to add that I met a couple of people when I did the rounds that actually knew more than at least I know. Some of them were even debating the type of plants that they had on the table, and they were not the ones that I thought they would be. And I was like, oh my God, we have residents that are biologists that really are very knowledgeable. And I invited them to this meeting, to attend and to be active. And some of them were really interested. These were more elderly people, and they have their own meetings in Boca Raton. And they were some of them took 10 or 15 brochures and will distribute them. So I'm hoping that we get more of the knowledgeable people attending and contributing.
As pertains to the comment about the food truck events, can we confirm it was my understanding that there weren't going to be any more this year due to the construction on?
Yes, that's correct. If there's any change to that, I'll let you know. But if you remember, I sent you all that email that that's the direction I was given by the town manager's office, that because of the fire station construction, this may be the last one. There'll be trucks and all kinds of equipment, construction equipment, utilizing the town parking lot. So future events probably won't take place until after the construction is completed.
Don't they
But we'll
have
keep you up.
a tree lighting event coming up for Christmas?
I'd have to check with Teresa. I don't know if they're moving forward with that or not. I could check with her. I'm not sure.
I'll make one last feel-good closing comment on the food truck because we all need feel-good moments. I'm going to take advantage of our time here. My favorite moment of the night was when 3 young girls came by. They were very knowledgeable, very active and engaged parents with them. And they were so excited and looking at the stuffed animals and talking. They could actually talk about the dunes, and they really jumped up and down and said, when we grow up, we want to be like you and save the planet. Yes. All right. So again, even touching the youth of the town was lovely. So that made my whole night. All right. Any other comments? Otherwise, we'll move on.
I would was there anything that we would do differently if we were going to have another event?
Yes, absolutely. We need a lot more stuffed animals that we can actually give out to children. I was overwhelmed with the joy of the kids.
What a
So
great idea to give out stuffed animals. That is a great idea.
I think we had talked about that, but because we were focusing on the dunes and not the turtles, that it wasn't the right forum.
Okay, then I would like to move us along to the board member updates on assigned projects, and Ms. Member Nessel, you are at the top of the list. So updates that you'd like to share.
yeah, so I'm unlucky enough, thank you, to be the first one to speak here, even though I don't have many items on my upcoming to-do list, but just briefly running through the Dunes outreach project. We talked about the letter that went out. That's great. If I go back to my list that I prepared for the last meeting, which are the to-do items for the dunes restoration topic, we still have the library event pending, which hopefully we're going to be touching today. And I'm checking on my list who does. Let me see, library event. That's actually Member Stanfield to update on the library event. Then we have another action item, Member Chapelier updating on suggested list of companies specializing in dune restoration. Same Member Chapelier on research on other municipalities, ordinances or practices regarding dune restorations. Then member Matthew Mann, update on Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission speaker and cooperation. And another to-do item I have here is so as a summary, it's the library event with the speakers, the contractor list, potential regulations, and the cooperation with two charities, For Ocean and Florida Fish and Wildlife. So that's kind of just to check on the dunes restoration topic, that hopefully when we go through each member, that will be touching on those items. Other than that, in terms of ideas for discussion in the future, I would like to throw into the round the topic of beach raking, which has been extensively discussed. And I've read all the documents, so I'm very familiar with what has been discussed. I personally am questioning what is the outcome. Has anything been done? I know it's a private beach. It's the hands of the town are bound, but I see violations literally every day on the beach with the rakers. They leave massive tire, whatever it's called, like literally half a foot, and some people can injure themselves. Sometimes you enjoy nature, you don't look in the sand. They bury the trash. They literally bury the trash. Every day I see it with my own eyes. They leave the beach with nothing in the rake, which is evidence that they are not removing trash from the beach. And when I speak to them, they just say, I'm doing my job. That's what I have to do. I have to rake it. So I don't know. So I throw it in the round, whether we could have a separate meeting on that, or where we stand, whether a city ordinance could be the solution. I'm just throwing that in the round, but that's something that worries me.
And again, with all due respect to that, I'm wanting to stay on task and on time, but there was extensive time given to that topic last year, right down to the beach raking companies were invited in, presented to the commission. I was here along with the present chair at the time. I was here. Some of us were here, and Ms. Allen, jump in at any time as well. But what I walked away with understanding, it's a tough position, since again, the town, it's a private beach, but not owned by the town, where the property lines begin and end for each homeowner is difficult. Ms. Allen's taken me in and shown me, from the county assessor's office, some individuals really do own land all the way down to the water's edge. Some it's where the high tide, that's always been a area of contention and truly understanding. It's the individual property owners that are contracting with the rakes. There are two different companies. The raking companies are saying they do pick up the trash and they bring it away, but it's difficult for them to have a clear place in and out in order to get. It was the word I'm going to choose is convoluted, to say the least. The mayor did put forth a very firm request that the ruts, they give attention to the ruts. The chair at the time made presentations about other rakes that could be used that in different areas and how they are more beneficial. And I don't feel at that time anything was solid. So it was convoluted. How and why or where we could continue to persist with this, I'm not saying no, but I know time and attention was put forth. And what are some thoughts or are we tabling that or putting it for future meetings at this time so we can go through each one? But I hear you, respect and understand. I think everybody's sitting here. I don't want to speak for you but I have a hunch. Tell me where I'm wrong. We walked out a little of like, we did a lot. I even called up and down to towns up and down, any town that was in the Coastal Star. I use that as my reference point. What do you do? How do you handle? Made a formal report to give. And it was all presented, but it gets very stuck. It seems like a black hole per se. But Ms. Allen, anything from your perspective, I'd love to hear and refreshing and refreshing.
I'll add to it. I'm actually so glad you brought up the one important aspect of it, and I'll repeat it, is that these beach rakers have a contract with the property owners, not the town of Highland Beach. So if anyone sees like the things that you're talking about, not picking up things, then I would reach out to the actual beach raker and let them know that you're seeing things that are not supposed to be there.
Can you
Yeah.
explain exactly what that means as far as, like, is there a contract for every single property or is there one
Some
large
property
contract?
owners choose not to rake their beaches, some choose to rake it. That's up to them and
Okay.
the individual raker. Ms. Stansfield's correct. There's two beach raking companies, and as she indicated, they came before the commission a few months back, and this has been an ongoing issue, but I think the town's hands are tied. We actually had the town attorney come, was it last year, to talk to the board about this? The town's hands are quite tied. So again, I would advise anyone who has some issues with a beach raker to reach out to that specific beach raker. The company, I mean, I think the gentlemen who are on the actual tractors, right, they're just doing their job. But if you reach out to the presidents, and I can give you that contact information because I have it for both of the beach rakers. If you reach out to those owners and let them know, hey, on such and such day and such time, this raker left this or that, you know, let them be aware of it.
One thing, as we're talking, my memory is jogging, but one thing we did also look at, and again, Ms. Allen assisted us in looking through statutes as it pertains to the responsibility of the beachfront owners up to like beyond or up behind the high tide line, like where their property meets, and their responsibilities for nuisance and trash. So we did, again, jump in at any time, Ms. Allen, but we did find that there was an ordinance in place, and I believe it was a town ordinance as to what their responsibility was for maintenance and maybe general language, like a nuisance and cleaning up. So we were like, that would be the only way in to holding homeowners accountable for the trash that is sometimes present. And I did share at my meeting, at the board meeting, and even before the commission, where when my community, we're starting again this week in the season, we do community beach walks to develop a social outing per se and camaraderie and get out there and educate. When we do our monthly beach walks, where we find the most trash is along that area, right in front of the properties, whether it's high tide pushes it up there or whatnot. So again, I not going out and knocking on doors and shaking fingers at people, but creating awareness of an ordinance. I don't think there was a lot of follow through on that. We did find something that was going to hold the individuals responsible for maintaining their area to where their property line ended. Because it has been my experience that that's where sometimes I find the most trash is up there that's been sitting. And Ms. Allen, can you
Yeah,
confirm?
I could add to that. Yes, if you recall, we did talk about that. We have in our code section 5-9, which is littering, and as it pertains to beaches. And I provided this code section, I believe it was last year, or maybe it was earlier this year. I don't recall off the top of my head, but the code does read with regards to private beaches. It says here, no person shall place or deposit on any such beach any trash, refuse, or debris. Further, the owner of the private property shall not allow trash, refuse, or debris to remain on his property for a period of time greater than 7 days after notification by the town. Any such trash, refuse, or debris located upon private beachfront property shall be properly disposed of in a manner otherwise provided by the codes and regulations of the town. So that's, something in the code.
Yeah, there was something there. We talked a lot. And again, the old brain is jogging. I do recall also that we talked about how to report it. And there was something we were referred back to, the link that was on the webpage of how to make something known. They, instead of starting a new link, why don't they use the existing? But again, I don't know what follow through is there. So I'm just rehashing, not because I agree that it's still a problem, but we don't need to start from the beginning, but we need to start where we can. And that was the best entry point that we had come across last year. So again, having a discussion, whether it's here or now, or tabling it so we can get through with others and putting it on an agenda for February, knowing and doing some additional research and coming forward in February with recommendations and proposals for what it could look like. But having, again, Ms. Allen, I apologize if we had to rehash and send that all back out to us for review, but then coming again prepared with our best proposals or thought process of, if this is how we can operate, think outside the box, put it all out there. How would we like to move forward with working within the ordinance that we have? For again, educating, I don't think a lot of homeowners even know section 5.9 town ordinance. Educating, enforcing, communicating, utilizing the bucket tree, again, building off the bucket trees. And when I get to my piece, I'll talk again, even the commission wants more bucket trees. But building it in a positive way of the work that we do. I would just put forth that maybe that should be, we should move forward now with other reports, and if that information can be resent out, since we do have new members for our reviews, that we can come to the February meeting prepared to discuss with proposals. Sound good?
Can I ask a quick question? What is the current procedure for reporting to a violation of that code?
Trash. We have a code enforcement officer, so.
So it's like calling the town and leaving a message?
Yeah, if you call the building department phone number is on the town's webpage. It's 561-278-4540.
You can always email him. That's how I usually communicate with him, and he's,
So maybe a quicker solution than waiting to February is, or maybe we can propose this to the town manager now, if everyone agrees, is a quicker solution to reporting violations. So maybe it's, again, the QR code on the litter tree saying, hey, if you see any violations of this code, you know, scan this and it'll automatically send a report to our town's code compliance.
We add that to the manager's report under our section, Natural Resources Board.
Add what specifically?
Here's who you report trash on the beach to, the code enforcement, so that the location gets written up.
I could discuss it with the town manager, see if we can add.
'Cause if we put that on the manager's report, then people will become aware that, oh, we can report this and get these citizens involved.
I just want to interrupt and say that, you know, we have to be a little careful with this because, you know, some of these homeowners don't live here. I'm not making excuses, but you know, trash gets washed up on the beach. And the reason that you see it up so high at the dunes is because eventually the high tide brings it there and that's where it ends up. Stuff that's down lower gets washed in and out with the tide. I don't want homeowners on the beach to think that they're, you know, it's just, I'm just saying we need to be careful with this.
Maybe another approach is, you know, if you see something on the beach, you know, pick it up instead of trying to out your fellow residents.
That is.
Oh, no,
a
we
great-
do that.
That's
We do that.
More
Yeah,
a friendly
why-
approach.
What-
Hey, if you see something, pick it up.
That is
That may
what,
be the approach.
what most residents are doing, but
Yes.
we have to be before the rakers and they come say at 9 and I see them and I'm struggling and pick up the big pieces before they come and actually bury it.
Yeah.
But it's a race against time. I need 50 people helping me because they come early in the morning.
Right.
And that's the biggest frustration. Maybe a solution could be that we tell them to come a little later at 11 o'clock. So to give residents a
Again,
chance.
we can't, we have no control over that since it's the individual
That's
residents.
Between the
But
property owner and the
Yes.
beach raker.
exactly. But again, instead of going circles and down rabbit holes right now, I'm not saying that the topic isn't important. But we're still just on number one. We have other individuals are not here. We still have at least 5 people that have to do the report outs, and we have time at the end, but I'd like to again suggest taking ideas that were presented and go reviewing the information and what we had and knowing what we know again. Yes, there is an ordinance as it pertains to up against the
Litter.
property lines and litter, but best proposals. And then we can work through, again, not finger pointing at everybody. What does it look like to report? How do we appropriately do? And we can work proactively that way, but I don't see that right now. We don't have all the information or the time to plow through that when we had a focus, dune restoration and management. We had an extensive plan, and I would love to update you on the commission report I made yesterday, because we were given a lot of feedback from the commission on things they want done as well. So I want to keep us fair focused as if we can move forward with that.
Okay.
Okay. So can we move on then to member Davison? Updates.
Sure, I have nothing additional. We can move on to the next person.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you were the individual who brought up Four Oceans when we again sidelined a little bit talking about intercoastal, but we agreed to table that for now since we were going to focus on. Okay, but I'll bring that up too because the commission brought that up as well.
Yeah, I think having that for discussion in the February meeting or next year, you know, so it seems like we're focusing on the beach side, which is taking most of our knowledge and brain power at this point.
Right.
To add an additional project for the intercoastal side might take away from that right now.
Okay, thank you. Member Eastwood Egan.
She's not here,
I'm sorry, member Leonard Brenner,
not here.
not here. Is it permissible to sidestep for one moment, Ms. Allen? And when I have never even met Mr. Brenner, when do we get to a point where we can talk through the validity of participation, or is?
I'll let Janelle answer your question about that.
Hello. Okay, so when it comes to attendance, board members are allowed to miss 2. Once you miss 3 meetings, it has to go before the commission for you to be removed off of the board.
And who makes that recommendation? Correct.
We do it automatically in the clerk's office.
Okay.
So we do attendance, and if it's 3 meetings, it's automatically gone to the commission to be.
And do we
for
know where we're
removal.
at with that particular member?
Yes,
Okay, so I'm going to make the assumption that that will be moved forward.
yes,
Thank you so much.
no problem.
Member Matthewman?
Yes. I basically was trying to find out if there were any statutes or rules on homeowners having to maintain their dunes, and I got nowhere. There are many people willing to help with permitting and telling you what you need to do, but there's nobody who's going to come out and say you must do it. At least up till now, I have got nothing. I think it should be changed. Even if it's just the Highland Beach rule that homeowners who live on the ocean, whether you be a private home or a condo, you must maintain your dune. And when your dune is not there, something needs to be done.
Vice Chairperson Chapelier?
Here, I did an extensive PowerPoint presentation, which is now on our Natural Resources Board under my name. And it shows the homeowner how easy it would be to restore their dunes by introducing pioneer plants in a scrub zone and some other plants that will keep their dune intact. And it's good for them because their swimming pool, for example, won't fall into the sea. And the fact that if they don't take care of their dune, their neighbors who might be taking care of their dunes are eroding. So what happens is if you live in the middle and you have 2 neighbors, because you're not taking care of your dunes, the sea will erode the other sides. And I really think that it would be in the spirit of being a good neighbor to get some groups together to address this. And you can start by looking at my PowerPoint. It's a clear outline of how to set it up with the pioneer plants to scrub zone. And that person will have a really nice back lawn without erosion. Once your dune is eroded, it's going to cost you much more money than it would just to maintain it. That's what I have to say on that topic.
Okay, so I would like to give an update on my presentation to the commission yesterday. And with such a quick turnaround, the PowerPoint was not included, or I can send it out. Maybe I can give it to you from yesterday. All right, if we want to, I mean, not that it was anything, but so that everybody's cognizant. I always like to be in the know if we want to just pull it up. But they were extremely receptive. I think I had about 25, 30 minutes that I was up there with really, first they applauded our work for the food truck event. They applauded our focus on dune restoration management. The mayor they were intrigued enough that the mayor got to the point and even put forth a proposal that what if we approved and the town would pay for an evaluation of homeowners' dunes to go out and look at them so that they could make educated recommendations.
That would be
Wow.
awesome.
And again, I was presenting to within there that we're not expecting individuals to take it all upon themselves, that there are many resources out there and different governmental agencies. Oh, apologies. I don't want to call her by her first name, and Peg, commission member. Okay, I'm just gonna call her Peggy, our beautiful woman who's running for our office. Thank you. Like, why can't I remember the hyphen list? Brought it, rightfully so, brought it to the mayor's attention that there are many resources out there that we don't have to pay. We could go out and find agencies that are willing to come and do such work from state and government levels. So I said, this board would take it upon themselves to look into that and put forth a proposal, for the town manager to review, for the commission to review, so that we can offer that to residents. Okay, so we can just go through this. So this is what I presented to them, hoping that all voices were recommended appropriately. The project overview, what community educational outreach. So as a result of project implementation, town residents will understand the importance of dune management. And then why, the project purpose. As a result of project implementation, residents will be able to develop an informed action plan and or take appropriate next steps. So why are we educating, and what, the demonstration of true understanding is application of knowledge in a new and unfamiliar way. So they will actually be able to take what they are learning and take informed steps to develop an action plan. And I wanted them to realize that the work we were doing is not in isolation, but it is in alliance with or supports work by Florida Climate Change Regional Compact for Natural Systems, specifically the goal number 1 of fostering public awareness. So again, this is a larger statewide initiative that we are stepping into and supporting. Our timeline, celebrated the food truck event, informational letter that they reviewed, the webpage, gave credit for that, and proposed informational outreach event to be held in January, February. So that's where I'd like to stop and talk to. And I looked at our town managers, like, it's my understanding, I've already reached out to the library and was told to pull back because it had to be reviewed and so I'd love to check in with Ms. Allen of where are we at with approval, because that's the last go around. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I reached out to the library, I was pulled back in saying, no, this has to go through the appropriate channels for approval to actually have the event before you can talk to the library, before we can identify a date. So where are we at with approval? And I touched on it again yesterday, and whether or not that was official, we give you the thumbs up. I want to know where we are at so that I can move forward with this work.
So you're saying you got the thumbs up from the commission? Yeah.
If
Well,
that's
given
what
this
I
all happened yesterday.
That's what I
yeah.
recall. So,
Yeah, given
but
this
I
all
would love
happened
to
yesterday.
again, and with all due respect to sunshine laws and ensuring again that I'm upholding the right process. Just want to make sure that I do have permission then to move forward again, because as we talked again and again, the library calendar is filling up. So I just want to know that I've got the go ahead.
Well, again, that would still be done through staff. I will talk to the town manager, given this meeting just happened yesterday, as far as proceeding, but typically staff coordinates that. If the town manager, if all looks good to do these January, February, it's usually staff that will coordinate with the library to set up the meeting, how the room will be arranged.
So can you define staff?
Refreshment.
Define.
Staff, us, the people that work at the town. Yeah.
So we turn over the responsibility to staff to
Yeah.
put this together.
And again, I'll
And-
discuss the
and you can-
details with the town
But we
manager.
work in collaboration, or they will do the organization as it pertains to identifying the date and time and structure the room, but we are organizing the event.
Right. And you're going to have the speaker there. You have a plan, right? That was provided. Okay. So again, I will sit down with the town manager since this all transpired within 24 hours to see how we're going to proceed. But typically, if you're proposing a meeting, staff will coordinate it. Obviously, you have a plan. You'll reach out to the speaker.
Do we
Let's
have
be-
a speaker?
Andy Stute from Palm Beach County, the individual who provided the brochures, said, I'm happy to present, but again, it's very hard for them to commit when there's no date. So we were stuck in limbo. Maggie, I know you mentioned that you have other individuals, so everything was just in this holding pattern until we had the go ahead to move forward.
Right.
So again, I know the entire presentation was very well received yesterday. So I just want to know that we have the go ahead, but if I'm hearing correctly, it's still not my role, even though I'd mentioned 2 meetings ago, I will take on the responsibility to contact the library. I was not redirected at that time. So I did put an email out there and was pulled back in. I just want to ensure that I am taking the appropriate steps. But if I hear correctly and tell me if I'm wrong, that is not my role to reach out. That will be turned over to staff so that they will do that on our behalf. And
That's correct. When you had initially made that request, it was not based on a plan. So when I did speak to the town manager after that meeting, with all due respect, wants to know, well, what is it going to be about? We can't
Got it.
set up a meeting date without any plan as to what the content is. So
Okay,
that's
So-
where that kind of, how that played out.
great.
But yes, staff, we will coordinate with the library time frame, as I said, set up refreshments. Then you all will coordinate who's going to
What's
be
gonna
there,
happen.
the content, and I will reach out accordingly to the board. We have to figure out dates, time, so on and so forth.
Perfect.
If,
Again, I really do need to sit down with the town manager and see how we're going to proceed. But if there's
Okay.
anything that is not aligned with that, I will reach out to the board through
No,
email.
but again, I think this presentation yesterday worked to our benefit, and from what I heard, we received very positive, please move forward. Yes, please. So I'm going to make the assumption again that when Ms. Allen sits with the town manager, Ms. Laverty, everything, yes, go. And then we will be informed.
so
Your presentation was one or many slides.
Well, and then after that, just I informed them of the letter that was sent out so that they were cognizant of that with the QR code. So that was what the final letter looked like.
Uh-huh. And
And then one more slide, again, just additional updates. They wanted just to know about the dune restoration management project. So we're, just again informed them that I had been working with Andy Stute of Palm Beach County, and he was in support of the work. What other individuals were doing, that we're again utilizing information from Coastal Resilience Partnership and the Southern Florida Compact for Climate Change. So they were, again, aware of the main focus of this overarching project, because as we said, this is all related to what Ms. Allen was sharing. We can't move forward until the commission is aware of what the project base was so that they could approve the event in itself. So this was all tied to that. That being said, they were also interested, and Commissioner Shoemaker brought it up again. I'd love to see more bucket trees out there. What can we do? And I made the recommendation of I would go back to contacting the initial property management offices and individuals that were contacted the first go rounds. So some we had responses, some said yes, some said no. There was a wait list. We pushed through again last year, and additional bucket trees were put out, but they are very interested in seeing more. Everybody said yesterday. Well, then it's back to, again, reaching out to property management offices. But that it is, people are more and more aware that they are out there. They talked about them at the food truck event as well, that yes, I've seen them. Where can I find them? How can we get one? So we are getting momentum in that
it's excellent.
place. And Diane, you were the originator of that.
Yes,
So
thank you.
I always want to make sure people know that you were the originator and the thought idea of that. So thank
Well,
you.
Thank you. And I'm very proud that people are asking for more. It
They are.
makes me feel happy.
And then I'll go back.
Is it possible for me to take your PowerPoint and put it on our website to keep people posted on what we're doing? In other words, I would love to redo it for you with pictures and stuff so that people might want to do it like update part on our website. Like what we discuss, since we're not allowed to talk to each other out
Mhm.
of this room, what I would say to you after the meeting, which I won't do, I'm bringing it up now, I'd say, hey, can I make your PowerPoint more, with more graphics and things to make it,
I would just say I have no problems with ownership
Okay.
or graphic, if somebody's a
But
better
take your
graphic, somebody's a
information
better graphic
and
designer,
presenter.
but just, what is the end all or?
yeah,
What
well,
do you want?
and
If
keep
they,
it going like once a month, updated, so that people can follow our dune restoration objective.
I think it's a great idea because it actually shows the public what we're doing.
Yeah.
Not everybody has time to read all the minutes or
Right.
watch the videos. So
This
it really is a
information
super
is
overview. Yeah.
valuable, but as a person from looking at it, I'd say I could make that so people will tune in on it more so than a lot of information. Like I could make it, yeah, I'd make it more user friendly. Like you did a great job. It's just, there's so much there. I'd go, it would just turn me off. I'd want more pictures and illustrations and
I would turn that over
I would
to the
do
rest of the
that.
members, but again, I'd love the board as a whole to review it before it was just posted, so that again, all voices are represented, that we feel that truly represents us, so.
Why don't you work your magic and bring
Yes.
it to the next meeting and we'll
Or-
look at
And
it.
then,
Can can it be done the last go round, we were able to, under Miss Allen's direction, review the letter. That was permissible because we discussed it or whatever was done in a way that we left here with the understanding that we worked on the letter, we would turn it back in and you sent it out to all of us to give feedback.
Yes.
Can the same thing be done if we use Ms. Allen as the conduit to turn it in? And as we're announcing here, we're going to do some work. You're going to turn it over to her. She sends it to us. We don't do the reply all or whatever is permissible. So we can give the appropriate.
just like a
feedback.
little area in our,
Yeah,
in
but
our
that's,
website.
does that work?
That works. If you want to make revisions to the PowerPoint, then
Just
you
make
can
it-
email it to me. I will email it to all the board members. You could provide comment, or you could just hold it into your next meeting to discuss.
And
It may
maybe-
take you, I don't know how long, a few weeks maybe to do it, or maybe not.
I would take.
But yeah.
And then perhaps excerpts from it could go into the manager's report. Keep
Sure, I
people
will-
updated on what we're doing.
Whatever goes into the manager's minute, obviously is reviewed by the town manager. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you
We should stay
want
on
that?
top of that. Just
So then
communicating.
I
with-
will then, through the appropriate channels, send it to Ms. Allen, which I believe you might have, I will resend it to you, the original PowerPoint CC to you, so that you can send it to
all of
Maggie
us. Yeah,
or
The board,
to
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
But it's my understanding you want to take the lead on the design. So everybody can look at it, but Maggie's going to take the lead on the design. Then you will have to send it back to Ms. Allen so that the final can be reviewed by us. So I don't know if everybody needs, if you want it, of course, but I don't know. if
because we
everybody
want to be transparent here and have everyone see what we're doing.
needs it. Okay.
Okay.
Well, just to add, this PowerPoint,
Mhm.
isn't it on the backup for tonight or on the webpage, on the town's website, on the agenda?
No, that's why I requested
okay.
that. I think this is the first time I've seen it.
Because it was
done yesterday.
done for yesterday's
Yeah,
commission
that's
meeting.
true. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Again.
just a quick question. So on this meeting, what are the takeaways? I understand that they really like to see more bucket trees. So what are we doing on that? Do we maybe call all the associations again, or what's the?
That wouldn't be
Decide
our
action
role.
item.
With Ms. Allen, you were the one who contacted the property managers.
Yes.
Would that get turned
I
back
did.
to you?
I will discuss it with the town manager. Again, I get my direction on my workload from him. If he wants me to do it, or if he asks for the board to do it, I'll discuss it with him and let you all know.
Okay. And the other piece, as I opened up with, when the mayor offered to pay for evaluations of property owners just for the health of the dunes, and we were informed that no, there are many resources and agencies out there who would do that. That's part of the outsourcing that they do. So I said we would take that on, so we can discuss whether we each do it as a whole, or does one specific member want to look into that? Like, I'm fine to do it as well, to do the research and reaching out to coming back like, okay, this is, so we can present it to the commission. This agency is willing to come in, and how do we want to contract or work, collaborate, whatever the appropriate wording would be, to have them come in and do such an assessment. And one other point, sorry, we got pulled in many different directions. They also brought in the idea that it's been a decade since they came in and did, I wish I had the minutes from yesterday's meeting. So apologies if I'm not quoting it exactly as it was stated yesterday. We can refer to the minutes from the meeting to clarify. But it had been a decade since they had brought an engineering company, and the town had brought an engineering group per se in to do an evaluation of the health and structure of the beach as it pertains to what, if you,
I can add to that. That's the
Thank
beach restoration feasibility study. Is that it?
was
It
it 10
was-
years ago?
Yes, it was, well, April of
Seemed like it was-
April of 2013.
Okay,
And it was done by Coastal Planning and Engineering, Inc.
so
Yes.
they offered like why it's been a decade. Close to it now that it's coming up to 2023. What if we did another one to come in to compare existing, to do that in tangent with the assessment of the dunes, since we know that goes hand in hand, and have that better impact. So that was put forth too, and the town manager agreed. Yes, everybody agreed that that would be a good idea. And so again, instead of doing things in isolation, I also said, yes, I would see that would be very beneficial since the dunes play a very big
No,
role
I'm
in.
just surprised that they agreed to that because that was a very costly project, wasn't it?
I'm not sure of the cost. It was before my time. I'm not sure how much it was. Yeah.
It was put out there and everybody was very positive and supportive of like, again, doing this work in tangent since they are interrelated.
If
So
I
we
could
got
add to
we got a
that,
lot,
yeah.
again, celebration, we got a lot of traction yesterday.
Wow. I'm glad to hear
I
it.
was gonna say, in regard to the beach restoration, I did chat very quickly this morning with the town manager about it. He told me that was brought up at the meeting. And with any type of new beach restoration feasibility study that's completed, again, to update this one, it's very important that whoever's going to take it over, whether it's this same coastal engineering firm or not. And I've mentioned this to the board for more than 2 years, that, we were involved and there's a final report on this coastal climate change vulnerability assessment.
Mhm.
So within that report, it's over a 200-page report. There was some information about dunes, and there was a discussion about the town benefits from the dune restoration that Delray Beach does, right? We get a lot of that sand. And I think a lot of people in the town are under the impression we don't have to worry about dunes or shoreline issues because we benefit from Delray Beach's dune restoration. However, the actual coastal engineers and a variety of people that worked on that climate change vulnerability assessment actually spoke to one of the consultants, and they indicated because of climate change, what we benefit from Delray is not enough to keep up with climate change.
Mhm.
So whoever does this new beach restoration, I mentioned to the town manager, they need to be privy to that climate change vulnerability assessment.
Yep.
Make sure that's a component in it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for all that for advocating on that behalf with all your background knowledge. Excellent. Okay, so back to though, we were given the task of researching agencies that would come in and lend their service. It would seem to think that there are agencies out there that would do that in collaboration with us instead of.
I got an email from DEP and they say they will come out and they will help with guidance and permitting.
Doing actual evaluations of each property.
He didn't really say that, but he said if
Good.
they want to supplement with sand, plant vegetation, remove exotics, they can with our guidance, permitting or exemption determination.
Can you reach
So,
out and get more
yeah.
clarification if we wanted to, if the town commission said we would like to see this? What to what extent? Are there any other agencies instead of just limiting it to one? Any? Or who else would like to take on some research work? I'm happy to do some as well.
I would like
can
to
definitely help.
have this coastal planning firm that did Delray and some other projects for the state of Florida to be able to talk to you. I'll share that phone number with you, Nicole, so you can talk to him to see if you're interested in his input.
Okay,
And he knows all the different ways of getting grants and monies out there for us. Now, one of the problems
you
is,
referenced this prior, have you?
yes,
not?
yes,
And we were, I think.
This is Robert.
yes, Robert Barron.
Yeah.
And he did many jobs up and down the coast, Jupiter Island, he's done, Delray for sure. Let's see, Hillsborough Mile down in
Okay,
Miami.
so very
So
well
he's
known
got
up and down.
really good references. And I would like to see him, giving a chance to do this upcoming feasibility study with the climate change in mind. And I know that he can do that. So I'll
what
give
do
you
you-
his phone number.
Okay, but you're saying you'd like him to do the coastal feasibility?
Well, first you said that the city of Highland Beach is up for doing a re-engineering
Mhm.
report.
But that would not be us reaching it, that would be the town manager. We
Okay.
can make that recommendation that Ms. Allen bring that information to the
Okay, I will
town
give
manager,
her
that
the
might be somebody
information.
that's not for us to reach out and do that, but
Would you
we were
mind
going-
if he contacted you?
You could do that, or you can send me an email and then I will share the email with the town manager.
I'll do that.
As far as the firm, there are certain restrictions that the town has to comply with, depending on
Okay.
the amount of money, whether it has to go out for bid. So
I'd say,
there's a
does it
lot
have
of
to be, does it have
components,
to go
but
through
you
an
guys,
an RFP process again? So that's where I like, that's
Perfect.
not for us to be doing at this
Okay.
time. But what we were asked to do is do the research on those agencies, such as Diane brought up, that are willing to come in and assist with a
Okay,
residence by residence, whether it's condo or individual home, to do an assessment of the health of the dune at that time. So right
Okay.
now, that's what we were charged with, doing research that we can bring back and then
okay.
present to the commission of, here's what we found, what are next steps? So again, so I'm assuming there'll be an approval process of how and why and time frame. So right now, I'm still looking for individuals who would like to take on or support, and I have put myself up there, Diane as well, to continue to do research of those agencies that exist that we can contact that would be willing to work with us and support.
Of course, I'll contribute as well.
Okay, so that we can bring that back for the February meeting.
I can add to that.
Yes, please.
Palm Beach County is a great resource. If you remember the handout, I believe, the one that says guidelines for beach and dune
But-
management.
That's where I was gonna
Right.
start, because he's my buddy now,
Yeah.
Mr. Stute.
I'll read it off their own brochure. It says, county staff are also available to provide technical assistance
Mhm.
and suggestions for managing dunes on private property.
Then I will get, because that's where I was gonna go, so
Excellent.
let me be transparent, authentic, and open, just name it. He was my guy that I was gonna go to, since I already have developed that collaboration with him, and I met him up at the Palm Beach County office, so I will take that on. Barbara,
Okay.
do you have a specific agency you'd like to research?
I don't have a specific agency, but I think it would be beneficial if we shared information maybe through town planner Alan before we all do our research, because what I would hate to see is that we all call all sorts of
Right.
agencies and then say, oh, Susan has already called me,
Right.
Yes,
so that it's coordinated, that we,
Yes,
I will take the county.
Okay,
Diane,
and I'm
you're gonna
doing DEP,
Okay,
environmental protection.
right.
There's fish and wildlife, maybe they have something.
I'll do fish and wildlife.
and what were some of the other resources? I apologize, I never have.
We had
that one in
4
here.
ocean on the list.
What was on our website, all the, no, I would go
Yeah.
back to all those handouts that are on the website.
We have
No,
Palm Beach
FWC.
County
Mhm.
on the website. We have FDP and
I say-
FWC.
Yeah, Florida Department of Environmental Protection, so FDEP. Barbara, would you like to do that one? The FDEP?
Yeah,
Okay,
So we have our.
we each have our assignment.
Okay.
Okay,
Alright.
good.
I'm sorry, Miss Matthew, Matthew, sorry, which one were you doing? DEP.
And
I
I'm
thought- Do we have
doing,
two then with DEP?
no, but Florida, that's the same one. FTP.
Oh,
I
say,
see.
I was say FDEP.
I was gonna say, it sounded like they're both the same. Florida
okay,
Department
yeah.
of Environmental Protection, right, FDEP.
So why don't you, because you want to call them? Yep,
Yeah.
good.
and I'll do FWC.
Okay, and again, we'll do the county. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Anything else for updates? And does everybody feel clear as we leave here, what we are continuing to work on? Okay. Then with that, can I move on to item number 10, announcements? On November 9th, 2022 at 1 PM, there'll be a code enforcement board regular meeting. Also on November 9th, 2022 at 6 PM, public meeting accessory marine facility regulations. If you want to know more about that, you can look at the minutes from yesterday's meeting, the commission meeting, because they gave some details about what that entails and why they're holding those. November 10th, 2022 at 9:30 AM, planning board regular meeting. Also November 10th, 2022, 6 PM. Another one of the public meeting accessory marine facility regulations meetings, giving multiple dates and times for people. December 7th of 2022 is the final public meeting accessory marine facility regulations.
If I may just add, anyone that may have questions about the public meetings, they're actually public input meetings regarding accessory marine facilities. They can reach out to me, Ingrid Allen, Town Planner, 561-278-4540, extension 3.
Okay. If there's no, or there being no further business to come before the board, the meeting is going to be adjourned at this time, 1:40 PM.
I move we adjourn the meeting at 1:40 PM.
Meeting adjourned.